A few weeks ago, when President Obama announced the recess appointment of Richard Cordray to lead the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, there was a lot of speculation that there would be lawsuits filed to protest this. It's been a few weeks, no lawsuits yet. Kate, what's going on?
Well, basically, Mark, people have kind of realized, or maybe some of them knew, but what we're all realizing is that this is harder than it seems. You know, the process of challenging someone's authority based on sort of a constitutional issue isn't easy. You know, a lot of people pointed to the Senate as being a likely candidate to sue, but it's really unlikely or unusual that a court would grant standing to an individual senator. So it seems like, and folks on the Hill have said, they don't plan on challenging the White House. So basically, people have to wait now until the CFPB actually does something that's what's called justiciable, to use the legal term. Basically,
Justiciable.
They basically have to just do something that's worth filing a claim in court, and the person would also have to prove that they were actually harmed by this action. So they really need to wait until the CFPB actually does something that harms them, and they being maybe a non-bank lender or a trade group.
So how long do you think it's going to be before a lawsuit's filed?
Well, that's really unclear at this point. As I said, we're kind of waiting for the CFPB to do something. So they could do a number of things. If they brought an enforcement action against somebody, that could be, cause for someone to file a lawsuit and say you don't have the authority to do this because you were appointed improperly. Someone might argue. So we don't know when they'll start issuing enforcement actions. They could also put out, say, a final regulation. And at that point, someone could say, I'm incurring costs from this. I'm being harmed by this regulation, and it's a regulation that you wouldn't otherwise have been able to issue without a director. So that's sort of the key, because the CFPB had authority before. They can supervise banks rather, but we're really looking at the things that that they wouldn't have been able to do without a director.
And who do you think the likely plaintiffs are?
Well, I mentioned a couple of them. It could be a non-bank, and it could be a trade group that represents non-banks. They have standing. They would have standing in court to represent their members. It could be a bank, but as I said, the CFPB already had a lot of authority to supervise non-banks, even without a director. So that seems unlikely. And also a bank. Banks, people say, tend not to want to sue their regulator. They want to get along with them.
Right.
Other folks have said, hey, non-banks don't really want to get into it with the CFPB either, and some trade groups have said, hey, we're not interested in suing, we want to get along, but folks in the legal community are still convinced something will happen, someone will sue. So we do expect that it will probably be a non-bank, and as I said, maybe a trade group will step up and file something on behalf of their members.